My fiance is livid that I spent $300 on 5 pairs of track shoes for my daughter because I didn't get her kids anything, but we both agreed to keep our kids' finances separate, so I don't see the big deal. My fiance has 3 kids, 16M, 19F, and 13M, with her ex. Meanwhile, I only have one kid with my ex, my daughter, 14F. My daughter is a state qualifying cross country and track runner. This means that her training schedule is rather intense, with her weekly mileage reaching into the high 70s and low 80s. At her most recent sports physical, I asked her doctor how often I should replace her shoes because I'm sure they get worn out pretty quickly with the amount of miles she's running each week. Her doctor recommended switching the shoes out every 6 months, as well as to get 2 pairs of shoes so she can switch out the pair she's wearing every other day or so. However, her shoes may need to get replaced earlier depending on how intense her weeks get. After the appointment, I took my daughter out to a few athletic stores so she can pick out a few pairs. I told her to pick out 4 pairs of running shoes, 2 for track season and 2 for cross country. Then I told her to pick out a pair of spikes for her races. I spent over $300 for her shoes. When we came home, my fiance saw the bags my daughter was holding, and my daughter excitedly told her about the new shoes she had gotten. My fiance stayed quiet until later that night while we were getting ready for bed. She started yelling at me for being irresponsible and a horrible person to her own kids. She said she was very mad because I should also get her kids shoes if I'm spending over $300 for my daughter. I mentioned that we agreed we would each provide for our own kids on our own, and her kids don't play any sports. They all sit in their rooms all day on their electronics. Even when I do buy them something, they never say thank you or appreciate what I get them. She got even angrier, and now she hasn't talked to me still. It's been 2 weeks. How do I handle her anger towards me for not getting her kids shoes when I got my daughter's shoes? Commenter. These are simply my opinions. 1. As a former high school runner of a similar caliber, 5 pairs is a bit much all at once. 2 pairs now, 2 pairs when track actually starts, and a pair of spikes for each season would have been fine, and it's probably the right way to go ultimately. Buying them all at once is probably what got the shock factor ramped up for your fiance. 2. As someone who has been in a relationship dynamic similar to yours, any relationship where yelling and insults are seen as a way to resolve disagreements and conflict is bad news. I highly recommend counseling before marriage. On the back end of 2 years of individual counseling post-divorce, I now know how much we both could have used it beforehand. OP responds, "Thank you for your opinions. I suppose I could have waited, but I leave for a work trip in the beginning of January, which is when her track season starts, and I know my fiance wouldn't take her to get shoes even if I sent her money for it. It just made sense to me to get them for her now rather than wait. The track shoes are put away and ready for her to take out when track season starts. Though, I do want to say that the money is and never has been the issue. It's what I spent my money on for my daughter that my fiance has issues with. To your comment on therapy, she has been medicated for depression and anxiety since she was 20. She goes to therapy herself weekly, but she doesn't like the idea of me going with her." Time out, because I just noticed a big red flag. He says, "I know my fiance wouldn't take her to get shoes even if I sent her money for it." So what is your fiance's issue then? She just has an issue with you spending money on your kid and her not being able to spend money on her kids? Is what it sounds like, but it also seems like she's trying to get money out of you. Or at least that's what it seems like from my perspective. Update 1. My daughter's Nintendo Switch completely stopped working earlier this week. She got it the month it was released, March of 2017, and has kept it in good condition for over 6 years. Yesterday, she had her conference cross-country meet where she both PR'd and qualified to run state. Congratulations to her. To celebrate her new achievements, I took her out to eat and then bought her a new Nintendo Switch with the game she picked out. My fiance came back from her parents earlier today and saw my daughter playing with her Switch. She asked me about it after my daughter left with her boyfriend, and I told her that I wanted to celebrate her accomplishments in her running career, so I got her a new Switch as a gift. My fiance then got really angry and told me that if I'm gonna buy my daughter something, then I have to be fair and buy her own kids something too. I pointed out that I do buy her kids gifts when they reach goals and achievements too. For example, I bought my stepdaughter an expensive Hello Kitty necklace as a high school graduation gift, and I let the boys pick out 2 video games when they both passed their final exams. She told me that it's unfair I spend more on my daughter than I do on her kids because I make a lot more than her. Fiance then got angrier and accused me of not liking her kids because of the different financial treatment between her kids and my kid. She left with her 2 sons, but her daughter stayed with me at the house because she's on my side. I got a bunch of texts from her family calling me a selfish asshole for treating her kids differently when buying gifts. Am I an asshole? Edit. To answer some common questions because there's a lot of comments and it's hard to get all of them in a timely manner. How does your fiance treat your daughter? My daughter and fiance don't interact much. They're both polite to each other, but they simply don't talk much aside from small talk and my daughter asking her some questions about cooking food. I have mentioned to my daughter before that if my fiance ever were to mistreat her, she needs to tell me and I will always have her back no matter what. To my knowledge, my fiance doesn't mistreat her at all. They just don't talk much. Do you have a will or trust fund in place? I have a will set up that gives my daughter everything. My will is safe with a very trusted lawyer friend of mine. I also have a trust in place for my daughter, and she will gain full access to it once she's 21. Did you have this argument in front of her children? No. She called her kids down and told them what we were arguing about. I told them my side, and her sons took her side and left with her. What is your relationship like with her kids? How are they with your daughter? My relationship with her sons is unfortunately minimal. I try to talk to them about their favorite topics or hobbies, and they either ignore me or shut the conversation down as soon as possible. I don't talk to them much either, other than when they come to me for advice on things like school, friends, etc. My relationship with her older daughter is very good, though. I'd like to think we are close. As for my daughter, she doesn't talk to her stepbrothers much, but she's extremely close with her older sister. Hope this clears some things up. Edit 2. To clear up another few common things being mentioned, my fiance has not always been this way with my daughter and me. She started getting much more defensive when my daughter finished middle school. I am not with my fiance for intimacy. My drive is low and so is hers. Her children's father is not in their life and does not pay child support. My daughter's mother is not in her life either. I don't think you're the asshole here. And if anything, I think that your stepdaughter taking your side over her mom's is proof that you aren't the asshole, right? And also, your stepdaughter having a good relationship with you and your daughter, and your fiance not having a good relationship with your daughter, and frankly, not even trying at all, makes it seem like there's a bit of jealousy going on here, is what it seems like to me. It's almost like she resents your daughter just because she gets more money than her kids, which isn't fair at all to either of you. But I also kind of understand where your fiance is coming from because she doesn't make as much money as you and she feels that maybe it's your responsibility to provide for them, which you do. You do buy them gifts, just not as much as your own daughter, and that's completely valid as well. Update 2. I made a post yesterday asking if I was the asshole because I didn't buy my fiance's kids a gift, but I bought my daughter one. I wanted to thank everyone for the positive feedback and the kind support, as well as the helpful advice I've gotten. A lot of the people asked for an update, so here you go. She came back at 12 in the morning alone. She said they left the boys at her parents' place because she doesn't, in her words, want them in the presence of a man who won't provide for them. Hey, isn't that exactly what I just said? Anyways, I sat her down and talked to her about a lot of things, and a lot of you were right. This is not the woman I want to marry. When I first brought up how she doesn't bring anything to the table when I pay for everything, she didn't want to talk about it and kept dodging the subject. I brought up how unfair it was of her to expect me to provide for her and her children when she doesn't do anything for my daughter and the bare minimum for me. She doesn't do house chores, she doesn't pay bills except her and her daughter's car payments and car insurance, and she spends minimal time with both me and my daughter. My fiance didn't say anything. Then I talked about the financial and emotional abuse. She freaked the fuck out. She started yelling about how it was my job as the man to provide for her and her kids when I make so much more than her and they have no father figure. I'm all they had, and she kept bringing up that as an excuse for her behavior towards my money and how I spent it on my daughter. When I asked her what she expected me to do about my will or a prenup, she told me that any good husband would put his wife above everyone else. She had been banking on me giving her everything, and I had for over a year at this point. I don't like yelling at all, but I was at my breaking point with her at this point. We yelled at each other a lot. It's not my finest moment, and I'm ashamed, but I realized that I let so much happen and my daughter suffered as a result of it. I told her about her neglect towards my child, and I will not tolerate it any longer. She is my number one priority over everyone else and always will be. I don't think my fiance believed me when I said that, but I guess she realized I was serious when I told her to start packing. I'm done being an ATM for that lady, and it's crazy to think how strangers on an app made me realize how I was stuck in such a toxic, manipulative, and abusive relationship with her. My now ex-fiance won't be a problem anymore. I hope. I don't think I'll be with another person for a long time, but thank you to everyone for the support and kindness. Edit. My ex's daughter will be staying with me and I will financially support her through college. And I will also help her get her own place. Her and I are on good terms, and I want to make sure my ex will not be using her as a token to manipulate me any further. Oh my god, I am so glad he added that last edit because I did not want to see his stepdaughter just get thrown under the bus like this, even though it was clear that they had a great relationship. So from that edit alone, honestly, it makes me realize that this is just a great person to be around. I mean, he provides for his daughters, he provided for her, even though she was kind of taking advantage of the situation. He was buying his stepkids gifts, even though he didn't have to, and he created a great relationship with the one stepdaughter who actually tried to have a relationship with him. It's just unfortunate that he got stuck in a relationship with someone who wasn't who they were on the surface. Update 2. I wanted to make a post to say a few things, mostly to answer some questions, and also because I saw my posts get reposted in a few subreddits and they have gained a lot of popularity. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you so much to everyone here for the kind words. Your support means so much to me, and I truly am grateful for the community here. Y'all have opened my eyes and have helped me a ton. Of course, there's the other side of the coin where I got some hate, a few comments of claiming my life is fake and bullshit, and then some weirdo in my messages asking me for pictures of my daughter's feet. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not worth my time to focus on the bad side, but regardless, thank you to everyone for your input. All of it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. A popular opinion I have seen get asked around is how the hell I got multiple pairs of shoes for $300. The answer is simple. Discounts. A good friend of mine owns an athletic shoe store downtown, so I went there. Got a discount because she goes to the local high school and because she's on the team. Also because he's my friend. I'm eternally grateful for him. He's done me really good. On the topic of shoes, many people have asked me why I've gotten my daughter track shoes now, even though it's cross country season. The answer to that is also really simple. I won't be here. I leave for a work trip when her season starts, so in my mind, it made sense for me to buy her all the gear she needs now while I'm still here. Though I suppose it doesn't matter much now because her season is quite literally about to end, and then indoor track season starts shortly after. My daughter and I are fine. I got her into therapy and I think it really helps her. My ex's daughter is also fine. I offered to get her into therapy too, but she said she'd handle it on her own time, so I figured I'd just let her handle it on her own. She's an adult, and I now recognize that she's capable of being responsible with her mental health and recognizing when she needs to get help. Both girls know that they can come to me whenever, wherever, for whatever. I did get security cameras installed and nothing has happened. It's been peaceful. Also, to answer another common question, yes, I became a parent at 16. It was not my choice, but I'm glad something good came out of that situation. I worked in a chemical plant and I've been working there since I was 19. I got extremely lucky with this job because, truth be told, I didn't even go to college. I'm grateful for the opportunities I have had to be working in a good paying job with just a high school diploma. Thank you again to everyone's support. Hey, this is honestly just a great update, and there's nothing much that I can say other than I'm glad that this guy figured out his shit and got locked in with his daughter, getting her in therapy, offering to pay for the other daughter's therapy as well, even though she's not even his own daughter. And it's crazy to me how his stepdaughter actually prefers him over living with her mom. But again, they also had a great relationship beforehand, so I think the OP is just a great person overall. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this story. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.